The northern German town of Schleswig is located between the North Sea and the Baltic. It has a population of 24,000. Just outside the town, archaeologists uncovered the remains of a Viking settlement known as Haithabu. Such villages are rare in Germany. Replicas of the huts have been built for a museum on the site. Many people are curious about the Norsemen and want to know about their way of life.
After what I've seen here, I think they must have existed. These things just didn't drop out of the sky.
They were here. What you can see and read here makes them real for me.
The Vikings' place in European history has made them the stuff of legend. 6 northern European countries, including Germany and Sweden, want to know more about them. There's an initiative to have 13 Viking sites included in the UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Program, but Sweden is backing out.
We welcome all possible initiatives for cooperation that increase awareness of cultural history, including that of the Vikings, with the aim of enhancing knowledge and attracting tourists. There are many ways to do that. Of course, you can't forget the UNESCO World Cultural Heritage Program is just a tool for disseminating information.
Germany was bewildered by Sweden's withdrawal from the project. Schleswig-Holstein's chief archaeologist CLAUS von CARNAP-BORNHEIM believes there's been a misunderstanding with the Swedes about the selection of sites.
Another problem was the presentation implied a romanticized nationalistic element. That's what is so difficult for me to understand. Because I believe that when we fail to join the contextual discussions, we lose our ability to interpret what actually happened. Of course, the Vikings, or Germanen, can be used for political purposes, just like the Slavs and the Celts. Everyone knows archaeology is always political.
Political propagandists have exploited the Vikings more than once. Extremist white supremacist and rightist groups honor the Nordic gods Thor and Odin as strong Germanic heroes. Online shops with innocuous names peddle images of the gods and warp history. Customers can buy not just Viking bookends and drinking horns, but also neo-Nazi music that incites racial hatred. In the history of most Scandinavian countries, images of the Norsemen crop up again and again. The Swedes say they have problems with it even today.
It comes from before the 1960s, when the Vikings were celebrated as heroes. That image went through some successive changes. For example, that Vikings were peaceful traders. But the old image of the Vikings is still revered in some political groups today.
Den här gamla romantiserande synen på viking har legat kvar i många politiska grupperingar.
Researchers in Haithabu know these myths well. Yet they also know that the legend of the mighty barbarians of the far north does not reflect the whole truth.
There seems to be no place in these myths for people who may have presented a very different figure. Perhaps because the poverty they lived in meant they were weakened by malnutrition or suffered from serious illnesses.
The Vikings are being re-evaluated today, and their culture is being put in context. A new market has emerged for Viking longboats. History fans want a closer look at the life of the Norsemen. The operators of the Northern European Viking Museum sites are hoping the World Cultural Heritage Project will bring more financial aid and more tourists.
They were good. I liked what I read about them. They were nice, nicer than other groups I read about.
I think the longboats are really interesting, and not everyone had the round shields.
German archaeologists don't want to give up their plans for the World Cultural Heritage Site. they're applying again without Sweden. This time it's about Haithabu and another ancient site, the fortification known as the Danewerk.
It's the frontier between Scandinavia and continental Europe. It's the biggest site in Northern Europe, and it's superbly preserved. A 28-kilometer-long wall. It's unique.
Danewerk, Haithabu, and others could become World Cultural Heritage Sites as soon as 2015. That will bring renown to the town of Schleswig between the North Sea and the Baltic. Then the Vikings will become better known, this time as they really were.